Well, in business tonight, government's economic recovery program is expected to benefit businesses of all sizes. Central Bank Governor Cleviston Haynes says the cash flows of companies have been constrained because of government's inability to meet its payments on a timely basis. However, a critical component of the IMF program deals with the repayment of arrears to businesses.
We're not going to be able to do it all at once because, as you would appreciate, it is influenced by the financing that is available at any point in time. So it's going to be phased, but it's going to create, we believe, on the one hand, better cash flows for businesses and hopefully also create greater confidence for businesses such that they can believe. And the other point of that, obviously, is government has committed itself not to build any further arrears so that going forward, if government owes you on a current basis, you will be paid.
There's a hope tonight that the new trust loans being offered by government will not be plagued with the bureaucracy that some small business people have encountered in the past. The comment has come from Chief Executive Officer of the Small Business Association, or SBA, Lynette Holder, who made the comment during her remarks at the official launch of the Trust Loan Fund. The SBA is one of the strategic partners with the new Trust Loan Unit. Ms. Holder says the association is pleased that the $10 million has been allocated in the first instance to fund the Trust Loan Initiative, but she insists that the traditional blockages that prohibit businesses from growing must not be encountered again.
We do not want another organization that is steeped in bureaucracy, and as a result, the funds are not easily accessible by the intended audience. We do not want that. If you poll many small business persons, many entrepreneurs, they'll tell you when we go through it every week, every month, of the challenges that they experience in trying to access funding. I say to folks all the time that the issue in Barbados has never really been one of availability of funding. It has always really been an issue of access to funding.
And Ms. Holder adds that the SBA will therefore be one of the agencies which will commit to letting the public know whether or not the loans are achieving their objective through feedback from membership.
If our members in the small business community tell us that they are unable to access funding because of these stringent and arduous regulations, that is not what we need in the sector. I go further to suggest that all of the research that we have seen, whether it's locally done by us or other agencies, whether it is the Global Competitiveness Report, Doing Business Report, all of them, when they cite the issue of access to financing and funding, it is because primarily of the bureaucracy.
Well, it's time now to take a look at how stocks traded on selected exchanges across the region. In Jamaica, Supreme Ventures Limited was the volume leader with 3,066,003 units at $17.52 each, and they were followed by Basinco Group Limited ordinary shares and Carreras Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Trinidad Cement Limited was the volume leader with 30,266 shares changing hands for a value of $80,204.90. They were followed by First Citizens Bank Limited and Massey Holdings Limited. And in Barbados, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the volume leader, trading 47,296 shares at $3.89 each, and they were followed by Cape Shepherd and Company Limited and the First Caribbean International Bank.
Water Wednesdays has been spending some time on Peg Farm and Nature Reserve to try to get a better understanding about the water conservation and water management process here. Of course, the owner, Paul Bourne, has been doing it for 5 years now, and all of these animals you see here, all the crops you see here on many acres of land are really fed through water harvesting. So Paul, Looking at that relationship, you also have a relationship with the Barbados Water Authority as well.
Yes, of course. From the time we started, you know, I applied and got a meter, and that was our drinking water at the very beginning. When we had a 20-foot container and a little small structure next to it, and that's where we started. And then, obviously, as the farm grew and more demand we had more and more demand for water, we started looking at how we could harvest water and store it and use that to feed animals and irrigate crops and what have you. So it's been a very interesting process, and you know, water is a global issue, and being aware of that and you know, trying to implement conservation into our use of water is very, very key. And I'm very encouraged to know that the Water Authority, Barbados Water Authority, has recognized the importance of this and is trying to do this outreach program to the general public, you know, on conserving water and not wasting water. I mean, how many people wash dishes and while they're soaping dishes, the water running, you know, and then they wash off the soap, you know, when they could turn off the tap and then turn it back on to wash off the soap. Little things like that all add up, you know, how many times you flush toilets every day, and if you have leaks, you know. So water conservation is definitely a big issue.
Looking at farmers right across Barbados, they probably would want to know how they can have a similar setup at their home for the water harvesting, the conservation and storage as well.
It requires a little bit of innovation, you know, but it's simple in that, you know, you start with the actual harvest. So when we first moved up here, we found a little like tank, probably could hold maybe 2,000 gallons of water. It was made from limestone rocks that were kind of stacked up on one another with mortar and sealed up. And apparently a guy that lived in Blackmans used to farm that land many years ago, and he would capture the water by putting galvanized, like rest it on the edge of the tank then. So that would capture the water, and the tank was his storage. So when they didn't have water, he would then pull from that little tank that he had made. But there are all kinds of innovative ways that you can use to do it. Maybe you're farming in an area where there's a water course, and you might be able to sink a little pool, a little pond in a particular area and capture water there, and then, you know, by putting a little submersible pump, which is not like crazy expensive, and they last for a long time if you manage them properly. Put a little pump and pump water up to a couple, you know, plastic tanks that could hold a few thousand gallons, and then that gravity feed down to your vegetables that you're growing, you know. And that way you're working with nature, and you're being very effective with the way you capture, store and use your water.
So if there's one message, Paul, that you would like to get to farmers out here and the general public as far as water management, conservation and storage is concerned, what would it be?
My message would be that water is a very, very precious commodity. We have 7 billion people on the earth right now, the highest population we've ever had, and we as a human race are contaminating our water supply. And it is very, very important that we as a human race also try to reverse our very own process and make it better, and treating water and, you know, honoring it for what it is and being conservative with it is very, very important.
Please keep those messages in mind. It's all about water conservation. That's the key to what we have to do here in Barbados to protect our water resources. To view this or a previous episode again, please visit our website, www.barbadoswaterauthority.com. You can go to our social media platform as well, either Facebook or Instagram, or just type Water Wednesdays in YouTube. You will find us there.